Good evening and welcome to my end of the week recap here for the S&P 500 and trade plan for next week. If you remember from my last video, I was looking for a break above this little bit of a flag that did form into last week. I said if there's going to be volume here, I was going to take 280 calls about 2 weeks in the future. Well, a lot of participants had the same idea, caused a gap up, and I tried to chase it. So I got into 281 calls at 103. Sellers started hitting the tape, some big blocks started coming through, so I reduced some at 108, again at 107, and trailed me out basically a break even. So a very, very small gain there on that play. End of the day, it looked like we were going to put in a reversal day. So zooming over here, this is the prior level that had a lot of supply in October, November, and December and caused us to sell off. So logic would dictate that maybe we're going to sell off again. So I went ahead, took some protection, got some 279 puts here at 120. On the gap down the next day as price action dipped and then pulled back up through the opening price, I closed those out at 142. Had I held them for another day, it would have been a very nice gain, but it is what it is. Next day at the 8 EMA, I did take my 278 calls here at 55 cents. I didn't go far enough in the future. I should have went to the next week, but I was caught up in the moment and the trigger happened, and that's just what I was watching. So anyways, in at 55, took half off here at the VWAP and trailed me the rest out at 59 right before it rallied all the way back up to the trend. And of course, had I gone farther out in the future, I would have caught the majority of this move. Anyways, Thursday had a very specific trigger into the close here for some 278 calls here at 101. Took a small position. Nice gap up, and just like on Wednesday, as price action went up and then started pull back through the opening price, I did close these out at 274. Very nice gain there. Just after the first hour of the day, looked like we had bottomed. I went ahead, I took a stab at some 279.5 calls that did expire today. I got in at 56, took some off at 64 as sellers hit the tape. The rest trailed me out at 48, so that ended up being a wash. Now going forward into next week and what I'm looking for, not necessarily looking for a breakout, however, we are consolidating. So if price action does break above 281.5, I will look for a breakout trade probably in some 282 calls. So we'll go 282 plus 2 weeks and we'll see what happens up there. As long as if price action breaks above and holds above, I'm good to go, and we'll see what happens. Any pullback to the 8 EMA, right here I'll look for 278 calls plus 2 weeks. Down here even lower, if for some reason we come all the way back down to this 277.5 and break down, I will look for a retest of the 200 SMA and the 21 EMA, both right here. I'll take 275 calls about 4 weeks in the future, and way down here below it, be looking for 265 calls about 4 weeks in the future. So right now, price action still looks very bullish to me. I mean, price action is above the 8, it's above the 21, and everything's now above the 200 now. The only thing left to come up is the 50. It is a nice curl, nice slope coming up. So looks to me like price action is going to continue higher. Looks to me like that is telling the algos to continue buying and pushing price up. We'll see what happens with that. Now, as I zoom out here, I'm going to go to the monthly time frame. It's taken a couple of months to reclaim the price action that happened in December. So that in and of itself tells me the selling was stronger than the buying is now, but we have had a very, very strong move up off of lows. So question is, does it continue? We've broken the prior sell-off month of December's high, and we've come up to essentially this peak where November is, which is 281.22. Anywhere above there, 281.20, 281.30 will trigger a move outside of this consolidation zone and at least imply to me that we are ready for another leg up. Probably going to test this 286.71, which is the breakdown from October, and give the bears a secondary opportunity to trade right there. That's what I would be looking for if I was trying to be bearish. Oops. And as I zoom in here, going to the weekly time frame, we have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and now 10 weeks straight up. This week on the SPY closed as a potential hanging man candle, which is possibly a reversal candle. I did take some, I think it was 275 puts home just for some protection because I wanted to cover my ass just in case something happens with the market. I'm very long a lot of other names, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully there's not a big gap down, there's not some negative news this weekend, and I'll be able to save face on Monday. So right now this is worth keeping an eye on. The E-mini futures, however, closed green. So I do have that going for me, and we'll see if that plays out and if that is actually stronger than the SPY, which most likely it is. And that's essentially what I'm looking at. So this will be my trade plan for Monday and going into next week. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them down below. Have a good weekend and good luck on Monday.